Curious, grounded, NASA researchers acknowledge a humbling truth. We have no idea what makes up 95% of the material universe. This chart shows the sum total of human cosmic awareness. Yet, despite being surrounded by this massive unknown, most people wager their entire sense of security strictly on the 5% we can visibly measure. We cling to that tiny sliver because it feels predictable. We build lives around economic progress and technological growth, hoping that enough data will eventually grant us total control over the future. When you assume every outcome is within your material control, the inevitable chaos of reality feels like a personal failure. You end up trapped in a state of constant calculation, a frantic attempt to outmaneuver a universe that is mostly invisible. Historically, humans navigated this uncertainty using spiritual tools designed for resilience. We eventually discarded those methods because they were wrapped in rigid, outdated religious dogma that no longer fits a modern worldview. If we strip away the dogma, we are left with a gap in our psychological survival kit. We need a purely logical, pragmatic framework to handle the unpredictability of being alive. In the 17th century, the mathematician and philosopher Blaise Pascal looked at this problem of uncertainty. He approached it not as a priest, but as a pioneer of probability. He published his thoughts in a collection called Pensées. Within these notes, he laid out a logical proposition for navigating the unknown that became known as Pascal's wager. This diagram illustrates Pascal's core mechanic as a game theory matrix. You choose to either believe in a higher power and live accordingly, or you choose not to, and reality either contains a higher power or it doesn't. If you wager that a higher power exists and you are wrong, you lived a virtuous life and lost nothing. But if you make that wager and you are right, the result is an infinite gain of meaning and purpose. Today, many people hesitate to take this bet because of the word God. It carries heavy semantic baggage and historical associations that often feel restrictive or irrational. We get stuck in intellectual paradoxes, like asking why a benevolent creator allows suffering. These questions create a gridlock that prevent us from seeing the practical utility of the wager. Getting trapped by these linguistic artifacts creates a false binary. It forces us to choose between an orthodox deity or a cold, indifferent void, which keeps us from making a logical choice for our own well-being. For Pascal's wager to work today, we have to redefine the asset we are betting on. This means moving past the concept of a wish-granting man in the sky. The psychologist and philosopher William James offered a modern, practical framework for belief that focuses on results rather than doctrine. The first criteria in James's framework is simple. The entity only needs to be something other than your conscious self. Second, it must be greater or wiser than you are in your current state. Finally, it must care about your well-being and be large enough to trust for your next step. That is the entire requirement for a modern higher power. This could be a support group, a future version of yourself, or the universe's natural order. Redefining the target of our belief transforms a theological leap into a logical partnership with a friendly universe. Placing this wager triggers a transfer of control. By relying on a higher power, you offload the ego-driven need to force every outcome yourself. To be clear, this doesn't change the laws of physics. It won't cure disease or guarantee financial wealth. The return on this investment is psychological. Trusting in a friendly universe specifically triggers states of awe and gratitude, emotions that researchers note can change the brain's reactivity and foster a sense of openness. This framework allows you to stop fighting the unmanageable nature of reality. Instead of bracing against chaos, you can actively participate in life as it unfolds. Pascal's wager is not about securing a VIP ticket to an unprovable afterlife. It provides the psychological leverage needed to remain resilient and peaceful right here in the present. In a universe where 95% of reality is a mystery, logically choosing to bet on meaning costs you nothing. It remains the smartest, most pragmatic investment you can make for an authentic life.